Good evening, Fernwood. It's your TV pal Neil, and it's time for some more late night variety madness with another episode of Fernwood Tonight. If you are just now seeing my face for the first time, that's because, well, I don't know where you've been, but this is a reaction show where we watch the show together and then afterward we talk about it because what else is the internet good for? And if it sounds like it's your bag, then please stick around. Also, if you're a viewer who feels like you have the means to help support the channel, please check out the Patreon, where you get early access to episodes and monthly updates and uncut episodes like in 3.5 weeks when that starts happening. Cool. Today we are watching episode 48 from September 7th, 1977. It's a Wednesday. Let's take a look back. Barth Gimble has started a campaign to bring the World Series to Fernwood. Sadly, Fernwood does not have a Major League Baseball presence, so they're probably not going to get it. Then he introduces Kara Bishanu, who has come to represent a religious cult that is really interested in balancing water. Barth and Jerry share their comments about the act, and then they bring up Kara to smile for the camera. Vernon Taylor returns because he is now representing his Joseph McCarthy Society, and he is there to talk about the new conspiracy to ban saccharin because he would rather take in carcinogens than be a communist. Miss Alberta Cornwall shows up to promote her new book, You Are You, and she brings two U-shaped pendants to Barth and Jerry. She fields some questions from the audience at home and gives advice like wearing brightly colored shirts helps to stave off depression. And that's pretty much all the time we had yesterday, so let us continue with this midweek craziness.
Tonight from Fernwood, Fernwood Tonight, 30 minutes of very remarkable entertainment coming to you almost live with your host for tonight, Mr. Barth Gimble. Tonight, Barth's guest will be Frank Carbone, who fights with his music. Father George Reese on how to make it in the church. Mr. Benson FLYNN, who's dying to be dead. And Happy Kind and the Mirth Maker. And me, I'm Jerry Hubbard. And now here's your host tonight, Mr. Barth Gimble.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, so little? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome again to Fernwood Tonight. I am Barth Gimble. If you want to try that again. Oh, okay. And tonight I've got kind of a strange favor to ask of you. I hope that during the months we've been here on the air on good-looking Channel 6, I've given you enough joy, enough laughter, enough of the Gimble persona, or person. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I hope I've given you enough of me so that now I can ask you to give me some of you. Or more precisely, give me back some of the me I gave to you. Right. And strictly speaking, keep all of you to yourself or yourselves. Clear? Okay. Here's the thing. Some very strange elements have come into this community over the last few days from out of town, naturally. And this is an element that doesn't have the best interests of Fernwood or Channel 6 or me personally at heart. So, let's say you happen to run into one of these characters and they start bothering you with a lot of questions and throwing around words like bunko. You will be doing yourself and your neighbors a favor, as well as old BG here, and I don't mean Benny Goodman, or Ben Gazzara either, by just telling this person that you never heard of me, okay? And as far as you know, I've never set foot into this town since my twin brother bought his in the closet there, you know what I mean? It may sound, to some of you, like stretching the truth, or playing fast and loose with the facts, or even, God forbid, like a fib. Well, take it from me, it's not. It's just a little put-on we're doing here, something like Candid Camera, okay? And so just for the next few days until this element, and some people tell me they sort of have a Cuban accent, if you know what I mean, until they blow back down Florida way, you never heard of me, okay? And of course, I never heard of you. It'll be fun, I swear. Speaking of fun, here's Jerry Hubbard.
Okay. And I know you've heard of me or you heard from me. I'm the one that announces you every night.
That's
and
right. Do a great job.
Incidentally, I'm sorry to hear about this problem, but if you feel like you want to kind of lie low, leave town for a day or two, or a couple of weeks, or even to the end of the fiscal year, you know, you always got me to stay here and hold the show down.
Well, that's great to know, Jerry, but I don't think I'll have to do that.
Well, okay, you never know when someone like me is going to slip and spill your home address right here on TV.
Well, you don't even... Fortunately, you don't even know my own home address.
Probably not. Have you moved from 1224 Buckeye?
Yeah, I'll be moving from there tomorrow, Jerry.
Take that nameplate that says Jones off, too.
Yeah, I'll have to, I guess. I think we better get on with
occupants.
Yeah, we better get on with the show.
Yeah.
You know, from time to time, we like to feature a member of the Mirth Makers Happy Kinds group over here because they're already paid for and they're somewhat talented. The lucky band member tonight is our accordion man, Frankie Kid Carbone. The kid part, that's with quotes, is left over from his boxing days when he was belting out opponents instead of Lady of Spain. Anyway, he's worked up a number and combines both of his so-called talents, which I think is a nice idea. Here's Frankie Carbone with something you may not recognize, or you may, as the theme from Rocky. Frankie?
This is a number that answers the musical question, what does a fighter have to do to become a champ? Hit it. Step one, road work, and plenty of it. Step two, calisthenics, and plenty of them. Step three, sparring, and plenty of them. Step four, heavy bag and plenty of them. And the final step, victory and plenty of them.
Fantastic. Great. Come on over here, champ. Have a seat. Fantastic. That was really We brought the champ and the chump. Happy you're a great sport. Frank, with all your mirth maker duties, are you still able to find any time to spend in the ring?
Yeah, Bart. I work with the youth of Fernwood.
Mm-hmm.
And I teach them how to go to the Olympics and to even go professional.
Sure.
But most of them just want to know how to punch each other out.
Kids will be kids.
Oh, yeah.
Happy, you must be proud of the kid here.
I think he's a jerk. You know, the only reason I do things is like that. Well, the only reason I do things like that is to keep these whining crybabies, the mirth makers, that way. You know, they'd start a strike at just the drop of a baton. Here I am. This guy, they call him Kid. Why do they call him a kid? Because he's a big baby.
Hey.
You know, and I'm dressing like this just to satisfy them. And I'm a responsible businessman here in Fernwood. I've got all kinds of businesses over. Can you imagine what's going to happen when I've got the bun around. Suppose that when I walk into my real estate franchise and they've seen me in these shorts tonight.
I think you should maybe lighten up a little bit, Happy, on him, because it is the kid's a chance for the kid to shine, you know?
Well, I never even liked sports. In fact, I was never even an athletic supporter.
Well, we'll be right back after to these words. Stay with us. That's plenty of it, okay? Thank you. For those of you who thought that last part of our program was pretty terrible, you'll be glad to know it didn't count, okay? The show starts now. My next guest has long been a spiritual leader in the Tri-County area here. Would you please welcome Father George REESE?
Father Reese, you know, I've always meant to ask you something. Are you any relation to Pee Wee? Might be a not. No, he was a great ball player. He was able to occasionally lay down a good sacrifice, which is a very religious concept, isn't it?
Forgive him, Father. He knows not what he says. Okay? Father, you've been helping people in your parish for years and years and doing a wonderful job of it. I'm sure a number of your parishioners are here tonight would testify to that. But now I understand you have a program to help other men of the cloth. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Certainly, Bart. As you know, the church is organized like many large corporations. A person's advancement and promotion in the church, as in a corporation, is based on experience and achievement, and of course, holiness.
Okay, the holiness would be where it differs from most corporations.
I suppose, of course. But what I offer to all my ambitious brothers and sisters within the church is an opportunity to advance themselves at a faster pace.
Up to where they can go, sort of like the Peter principle. In this case, it'd be the original Peter principle, St. Peter. How do you help them advance, Father?
Well, I have a clerical advancement correspondence course.
So what you're saying is that you have a study-at-home course for priests. It's correspondence.
Precisely. Right? Any clergyman who is prepared to burn the midnight oil will advance up the slope of the holy success ladder with my course. Lord willing.
Sure, of course, you have to have that. Why don't you outline, if you could, I don't know if it's all right, I don't want to lose money for you, but outline one of your courses right here for us. Could you do that, Father Reese?
Oh, well, yes.
Okay.
One of our most popular courses is the Basic Bishop Training Course. This is the manual and syllabus.
Oh,
and
beautifully
it comes
made.
with a complimentary purple ribbon bookmark.
Absolutely, it fits right in with the rest of your collection. That's great.
And here are some of our some of the quick studies that we offer, so important to becoming a bishop. Introductory blessing, intermediary piety, speed praying, and how to hear voices in an echo. This comes in handy in your larger cathedral.
Oh, I see. I was wondering where that fit in.
I sure hope you're also fitting in a speed sermon course there for some of the people who have come to church. They like to get those things in and out with in a hurry.
Jerry, turn the other cheek.
No.
I think this is great. This is really wonderful for a priest who would want to become a bishop. But let's say you have a bishop who wants to advance himself. Now, what does he do? Where does he go?
Well, he would go on to a graduate course in training to become a cardinal.
That's what I always wanted to be. My favorite cardinal was Stan Musial. He had that funny batting stance, but he had good wrists. He could wait till the last minute and knock that ball to the opposite field. Of course, that's a different cardinal. I made the connection there.
Father, before lightning strikes us, would you tell us the curriculum of your cardinal school?
The candidate receives full training in advanced deity contacting, papal exits and entrances, and then he studies balcony public speaking, with emphasis on addressing a world.
Oh, boy.
Loud voice for that, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely, Jerry.
Don't want some joker in the back saying, "Speak up, we can't hear you." Molto voce. There's always one clown, no matter who's clown.
I'm glad you brought that up, Jerry.
Additionally, best silica training, and we have also holiness exercises, and most importantly, audience protocol.
I want to wish you all the luck in the world with your home study course. I think it's going to go right over the top, and you're going to have a pope one of these days. And I also wish you a great deal of luck with your upcoming excommunication, because I think that's probably also in the works. Okay, we'll be right back after these words. Don't go away.
Celebrate the spirit of Christmas when Metropolitan Opera star Luciano Pavarotti
My next guest is, well, quite unusual, I'd have to say. I'm trying to think, actually, the proper word to use to describe his story. Fascinating might be all right. Interesting certainly is one. But I think the best description would have to be really two words. Incredibly sick. Please welcome Mr. Benson Flynn. Put this down as well. So, Mr. Flynn, I hope you weren't offended by my introduction there. We love to kid each other around this show when I said incredibly sick. I certainly didn't mean incredibly sick.
I understand. It's all right.
So why don't you tell everyone, actually, why it is you come on the show?
It's pretty simple, really. I want to be executed. Preferably in front of a firing squad.
That's incredibly sick. Pardon me for saying so, but that's not exactly the American dream. I mean, why would you want to be executed?
I just feel so guilty about everything. I want to pay for it.
Well, have you committed some sort of capital offense that no one knows about, maybe?
No. It's just that I feel guilty about everything. I feel guilty about this and guilty about that, and I think guilty people should be punished. And I just want to be punished, that's all. I'm so guilty that I should be executed. That's right, yes.
I think it's a terrible attitude. Don't you feel guilty feeling that way? Life is one of our most valuable assets, for heaven's sake. If you want to die, have you considered drinking liquid plumber or something?
No way. I mean, that would be suicide. You have to be nuts to commit suicide. Why, no one notices when you commit suicide.
Yeah, okay.
Unless you leap out of a building and land on some poor devil who's walking by underneath.
Mr. Benson.
Or land on top of his car and there'll be a dent and they'd say, that's where some joker jumped on my car.
Absolutely. Have to go to a body shop and have him removed. Oh, yeah. Have to do that.
Or just paint right over him.
You could do that.
That'd really be some body work, wouldn't it?
Filler in around the arms into the
They do that with putty now. They do wonderful work. Putty it out, sand them down, and paint over it.
And the primer, of course, would hide like the thread of the clothing and things like that. Primer. Mr. Benson, why a firing squad?
Oh, a firing squad is the most heroic way to go.
Really?
Oh, yes, indeed. I mean, you have that great last meal, and then you have that meeting with the priest.
Well, so far all you need is the meal.
Father, huh?
Well, yes.
Yeah. And then you have that long walk and that last cigarette. Oh, and then you have a big editorial comment from Tom Snyder.
Okay, well, so far, here's your cigarette. You can put that in your pocket. You already got your priest. All we're missing really is Snyder. And how badly can we miss Tom Snyder? Mr. Benson, have you discussed your death with your family?
Oh, yes. I mean, they're with me all the way. I mean, my wife said that she'll go along. Anything I want to do is all right with her. And my mother, she said, just remember to follow your conscience and to wear clean underwear.
Mm-hmm. I bet you wouldn't mind if your wife's mother stood behind you on that firing squad.
Right behind you. Yeah.
And besides, I mean, you know, it's for their benefit as much as it is for me.
So what have you been doing to really bring this to fruition, or that means make your dream come true?
Have you considered going out and killing a few people? There's a ticket to the death house.
No. I'm not a killer.
Okay.
I'm just an accountant who deserves to die.
What exactly is your purpose in coming on our show here, and other than to make us feel incredibly superior, I think?
Well, actually, I think I've hit upon a plan, you see. Now, would you mind if I used your airwaves for a public appeal?
No, that'd be fine. Go ahead. Shoot.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I hope it's a surefire plan. Because we can't hang around here all night. And knowing you, I'm sure it'll be a gas. Here's one accountant who's not interested in multiplying.
I'm sorry. When Jerry gets going, he's a killer. Murder with some of those jokes. That's great.
I'm having such a good time, I may not want to go after all.
So what's your plan? Go ahead. The camera's yours. In fact, let's go with the one that doesn't cost quite as much. Which one is that? That's camera 3. Camera 3. That's a little
Well,
cheaper.
I just want to, here's my plan. It's very simple. I just want to take the credit for a capital offense. I would like to get the credit.
You don't want to commit a murder or anything?
No. I mean, I don't want to get involved with the actual crime itself. I mean, I just want to be the fall guy for it, see? So please hurry. Somebody, this waiting is driving me crazy. I just like to get it over with.
And so would we, right, Jerry?
Right, and please address your inquiries to Operation Execution, a Gimbal Enterprise Productions, all rights reserved.
And remember, the sooner you send in your cards and letters, the sooner we can get the book and the movie in the works. Thank you, Benson, so much for sharing your story and your rights to your story with me. And we'll be back after these words. Thanks. I would have gone like this to the band, which I usually do. It's kind of a joke between Hap and I, but didn't think it was quite right. It's time to say goodnight to all our guests. Father Reese, best of luck. Once again, the name of the book here is Basic. I got my Pepsi all over it. I guess that's all right. Basic Bishop Training 101, and you have the whole course going. Good luck with that. And Mr. Benson, I think it's kind of timely that you were able to meet the Father here tonight. Oh. And you may be seeing a lot of each other for a short while. I'd like to thank also Jerry Hubbard, my wonderful co-host and announcer. Isn't he the best? Okay. Now, also happy kind of the Mirth Makers. Incidentally, for you people in the Fernwood viewing area here that I'm talking to, you might want to stay tuned to Channel 6 for our feature on Midnight Matinee tonight. It's the long trailer with Lucille Ball, and I know this doesn't affect a lot of you, but it's in color. Okay? That's it. Good night, folks.
Also appearing on tonight's show were Frank Morocco as Frankie Kid Carbone, Frederick Franklin as Father George Reese, and Joe Medelis as Benson Flynn.
Oh, that one went surprisingly dark. It starts with Barth telling everyone that they should be watching out for a bunco squad from down south. I had to look that up. I'd heard the phrase before, but it essentially means a squad that deals with fraud, a police squad that is investigating fraud. So that's clearly something that is on the horizon for Barth. Some people are definitely looking for him. And then we bring out Frankie the Kid Carbone, and I know we don't really get to look at the Mirth Makers all that much. They're usually off screen or occasionally glanced upon, but Frankie is a former boxer and also the accordion man for the Mirth Makers, and he is taking the theme from Rocky and also playing the accordion while at it. He's taking all of the beats of that movie, and if you haven't seen Rocky, well, that movie was an enormous hit in the 70s. I'd say that Star Wars and Rocky really captured the eyes of a generation there. Happy takes a part in the piece, though he is completely under protest. He pretty much says he doesn't like Frankie. He's often said that the musicians, the mirth makers, are annoying to him. But that's a bit of the bit. Then we bring out Father George REESE, who has a new program, a correspondence school program. I guess that would be the equivalent of taking class by mail, which, now many people do their classes remotely. But he has a class in how to advance in the Catholic Church. And it stays pretty clear of the scandals that we are familiar with now, I suppose. Now it's basically just how you can advance from a priest to a bishop or a bishop to a cardinal. Of course, Jerry has sports on the mind the whole way through. And then we bring out Mr. Benson FLYNN, who specifically wants to be executed for the crimes of something that he feels guilty for. He doesn't say what he feels guilty for, but definitely he feels the need to be executed in the name of that. He doesn't want to commit suicide. That's clear. At least he doesn't want to take his own life by his own hand, and that would be plenty dark as it is. But in this case, he wants to be executed for some crime that he doesn't even want to commit. He just wants to take the credit for it and just be murdered because he feels guilty. I have to admit, this one really got to me in terms of, we have talked in the past over Good Evening Fernwood about my experience doing work for crisis intervention. Here, I wouldn't even know where to start, but it's almost like a joke. I mean, obviously it is treated as a joke on the show. Jerry and Barth kind of quip about it. They have a long-running quip about all of the things that Benson is trying to do. But yeah, that's where it goes. And then, I mean, just the lucky fact that Benson is meeting a priest before he potentially goes. Yikes. And that's where we end this midweek set. So now it's on to the topic of the week. We've been talking this week about what's going to happen 3.5 weeks from now when we start airing completely different stuff. It's no longer going to be Good Evening Fernwood. The show will be called Dating Myself, because at the beginning I'll be watching stuff that is from, roughly this period. I've got 2 shows in mind to start twice a week. The first is a war-themed show that I'm not going to name, though someone has made some interesting guesses as far as what that show could be. The second is an anime, just to give some action-adventure flair. There's certainly some science fiction happening there, and as I mentioned, there's a lot of flair. I haven't been too clear about what these shows are. I don't want to let that pot boil a little bit, but I will say that there is sort of a superheroic energy for the anime show, so that's an additional clue to give you. But if you want to find out for sure, you'll just have to wait, or maybe you'll have to check out that Patreon, because you might learn things in advance. So everyone, thank you so much for watching with me. Thank you so much for leaving your thoughts, feelings, and impressions in the comments. Thank you to my top tier Patreon supporters, because you know things in advance before other people do. And you still keep watching anyway. We will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.